It has been 453 days since now 16-year-old Sebastian Rogers vanished from his home in Hendersonville. His disappearance sparked national headlines, but now his father says the case is losing momentum. With National Missing Children's Day coming up on Sunday, he is raising his voice and demanding urgency. News 2's Caitlin.
I went and talked to neighbors, and every single one of them, every single one, welcomed me. And if they had video surveillance, they gave it to me. The only person that would not talk to me, as the only person that had something to hide and wouldn't talk to me. You know, she has a son that's hiding and waiting for somebody in the dark, late night on the 25th, and there needs to be some explaining for that. I'll just leave it at that.
That we are going to keep searching, we are going to keep looking, we are going to find him, and we are going to bring him home.
Since we first aired the video last month, authorities have said no evidentiary value.
It is of no evidentiary value. It is of no evidentiary value.
Can you tell me what those lights are?
No.
Why?
Because the investigation remains ongoing.
Yeah, I'm working on behalf of Sebastian. I am not, my client is Sebastian, and they're the guardians that have the ability to sign.
It just started. Hi, Dad. I know this is gonna sound weird, but tomorrow's picture day. So could you send some decent clothes over to me so that I can wear the decent clothes and be handsome for my birthday with all the decent clothes? Mom.
Because our heart is missing. He is my world. I need him. I need him back with me.
Everyone wants to hear what you have to say. And it's all about bringing Sebastian home and safely. So first, just express, I can't even imagine as a parent what you two are going through. How would you describe the situation?
All right. Happy Friday. Welcome, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Going to be getting a new mic here soon, thanks to Cajun Juju. Hope everybody is doing well. Let me know how I sound in chat. I've got a lot of new surveillance footage. I had to kind of go over and I want to say proofread, but kind of look over, make sure there's nothing that shows the neighbors or anything that would interfere with that. I want to be respectful for being able to present some of this footage. But yeah, basically we've got quite a bit, and there's a lot to look over. There's some specific timestamps that I thought we would kind of look at. And let's see. As we wait, because like I said, I've got quite a bit of footage. And I'm just trying to think of where to start. I've been doing a lot today. My mind's a little scrambled. I thought just before we get into the surveillance and stuff, maybe just as people come in, maybe check out just a little bit of the audio that was released earlier this week. I think it was Monday or Tuesday, with Heather going to the Stink Feet home. And there was a video put out by the lab from Josh where he had Chris McDonald on. I love him and his work. Maybe one day we'll have him on the show. But he was giving his kind of insight to it. I would love to see Deception Detective as well break down that audio. But I thought maybe it'd be kind of fun to just watch just a couple of clips of what McDonald thought of the audio, and then here in about maybe 15-20 minutes we'll kind of dive into some of the surveillance, and then we'll end with Texas Roadhouse and some stuff like this. Oh, did you guys watch it? Yeah, I've only watched like the first half. I think I fell asleep because I saw it put out. But yeah, it's always interesting to get the insight from a professional like Chris. Let me see where I've got it at. Where did I put it? Thought I pulled it. Let's see here. 1 second. There it is. Okay, we'll just move it out there like that. That'll be easier. All right. Okay. So we'll play just a little bit of this. I'm sure most of you guys have heard it. If you haven't, this is former PI for Seth that showed up at the Proudfoots home. I think I'm guessing around in April, and basically, trying to get timelines and answers and to interview Katie and Chris. I guess when she showed up, Katie was home, but Chris was, I believe, in Memphis working. And anyway, it's a wild phone call. We've listened to it. I know Justin, it looks like he probably played it earlier today. So I know a lot of you have probably heard it multiple times. Really, I'm just playing a few parts just to see what Chris's thoughts are on it. Of course, this is 2 hours. I'm not going to play the entire hour, 2 hours. We'll just listen to maybe like 10, 15 minutes as people come in, and then I'll jump over to the surveillance. But I wish I had enough time to get some timestamps. Unfortunately, I just so much footage coming in, but there's a couple of things at the beginning that I noticed Chris was mentioning, so we'll play maybe 5 or 6 spots where he kind of gives his insight, and then we'll move on to the footage. That way I can read chat as well. But if you can, please hit that like button. Yeah, I got some interesting stuff.
Say we just dig in and listen.
Can I tell her who's?
Yeah, my name's.
Can I tell her who's?
Yeah, my name's Heather. I came by yesterday. Hi, Katie.
What can I do for you? Are you the woman that trespassed my property yesterday?
I actually didn't. I walked down your neighbor's property and then down the easement and then up the other
That's not
side.
an easement. I own that. That's my property.
Well, the fence says no trespassing. I didn't come on the property.
That is my property.
The easement. That's a public easement.
I own it. It's mine. I own it.
I am here to try to clear you.
I don't need you to clear me.
So I don't know why you're being defensive with me.
Okay, so can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
First, can you identify yourself?
Yeah, I did already. My name's Heather, private investigator.
Well, you're coming to my house. And you're
I am. I'm investigating the disappearance of your stepson. So do you want him found or no? Because if you do, then why would you have a problem with me coming to talk to you guys?
Well,
real simple, because we're asking you questions and you're telling us that you can't answer those questions. So why should we answer any?
I absolutely did not trespass.
There's no such thing.
There's nothing. There is a such thing as a public easement. It's not posted.
I own it. I have signs on.
Okay, your fence has a sign. I didn't talk about it.
Inside of
okay, take it up with. If you want to report it to law enforcement, do it. Take it up with them. I am trying to help. Okay, so if you want somebody to help you, that's what I'm doing.
Okay, well,
so calm down. Talk to me like civil human beings. I'm trying to help find him.
Okay, I'm gonna skip it forward here. I might have skipped. I know there's a part. Maybe this is it. I thought Chris jumped in earlier, but I could be wrong. Leslie and Billy, good to see you. Chris, I might be able to help you get Chris McDonald on. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd probably like to have something special to have him on. Have something a topic. But yeah, it would be amazing. I'm so glad he's still looking at this case. Because he's got a lot of reach.
Been talking to sex offenders in the area.
Being there. Oh, okay.
Right now, you're in my
is hovering over.
Let's see.
How does this get to be a 3-way call? Do we know?
Okay. He explains that to him.
Being there. Oh, okay.
Right now, you're in my.
She's a private investigator by herself. Where he became.
Okay. Well, let's apply common sense here.
Okay, here's the good part.
And that common sense is pretty clear that it's control, dominance, and power. And he is displaying that. If your child is, if there's nothing going on anywhere, anyhow, no cats, no, coming out of the hat, no rabbits, no nothing, then you cooperate with the authorities. It's that simple. Or you at least have a sense of decency because your child is missing, to say to somebody, anybody, and yeah, granted, people respond, differently emotionally, etc. But they don't respond with anger. Anger is a defense mechanism. Okay. And it's a loss of control. And so you hear it right off of the bat. I'm assuming he's not there based on.
I think he's out of town, possibly working, and that she's by herself, wherever she is. But when the private investigator shows up, she calls Chris because I think that's what sounds like that's what she's been directed to do.
Okay, well, in law enforcement, that would be a sign of deception, because for a couple of reasons. Let's say you pick up the phone and you say, "Hey, Mr. So-and-so, such and such, how about coming down the station? Let's talk for a moment. I got a couple of questions." And they come down the station and there's somebody with them. Okay. And you go back and you're in an interview with this individual, and you say, "Hey, blah, blah, blah." And they tell you a whole story. And at the end of the story, they say, "Well, if you don't believe me, go ask Frank, who's in the waiting room." Okay. Well, why do we need Frank to reaffirm a story that you are projecting as truthful? And it's the same principle. Why does she need him to talk to woman, another woman who's standing there at the house, who's volunteering or has been hired by somebody or something, even if it was the cops, if she was hired by anybody? Okay. And by the way, I think I heard in there, he said, "I was just at TBI in Jackson," or something to that effect.
Something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's, the west side of Tennessee. So and Memphis is south of that. So do you hear where I'm going here with that piece of the puzzle?
Yeah, I do. And that's why I didn't quite understand,
So I'm going to pause that there. But yeah, that's really great insight. Chris yeah, I know there's way too many Chris's here, unfortunately. But yeah, such great insight. I'd love to have him on. I know he's seen some of my work, and we've just unfortunately never connected, but we've know some of the same connections and stuff, and covered clearly the same cases. And yeah, I love his demeanor. I love his work. Let me skip forward again. If you're just coming in, I've got new surveillance footage. We'll look at that here in a bit. I'm just kind of letting people come in. And there's some things that we'll point out that I've seen in the surveillance. Again, we're talking not hundreds, but lots of hours of footage. But mainly in the main window of when he disappeared, before and after. And there's, again, a little time that I had to look over it. There's some interesting stuff to point out. But yeah, we'll do that here in about 10-15 minutes. So let me skip this forward again. I'll put the link to this if you haven't seen it. This is Josh from the lab. He had Chris on. I think this was uploaded yesterday. Correct me if I'm wrong. I meant to put it in my description down below. I'll probably do that. either during or right after my show, so you guys can see the whole thing. If you'd like to go over and check it out, very telling.
At this point,
this coin this is what his ex-wives have experienced.
Okay, well, I'm not sure how I would know that. All right, well, I'm just not really sure how anybody would know that easement is yours.
Step out of your car.
Hey, there's Kiki.
Chris Kiki, 2025 True Crime says, with them being at TBI in Jackson, Mississippi, would that indicate that the investigation is over state lines jurisdiction? I don't think so, but this is up. I think they'll meet with anybody anywhere if that's where they are. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, if he's down in Memphis or where, maybe that's the closest TBI office. It's a field office.
Of any
stop.
Okay,
Stop.
right here.
I'm not showing up here to do anything.
By walking on his property, but she's there to make peace and say, hey, look, that's not what I was meaning to do.
Focus instead of finding Sebastian. It's a waste of time right now. We're arguing over a property line, like when there is a missing child.
We're arguing over a fucking safe.
I'm not showing up here to do anything to you.
We're arguing over a fucking safe.
I'm not showing up here to do anything to you except for find your son.
Stop. Heather, next time, don't argue with him. Just
let him go.
Roll with it. Yeah. Poke him and roll with it.
The thing is, I don't even think she really I don't even think she
That makes sense because we know Crispy, how he tends to, even though he's full of shit, he still ends up slipping up quite a bit. And I think especially if he's rambling on, I'm just assuming this is one of the angles is what he's McDonald's trying to hint at.
Poked him. I think he poked himself.
Of course. Well, that's natural, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think.
You know what we should do, Josh?
What's that?
Let's get one of his ex-wives on your show, and I'll come on.
Okay.
That would be interesting. Nina,
we'll poke the bear, and I'm sure.
This is so great. I again, with what I'm doing, and other things going on, I think all these creators coming back and just putting pressure on this case because, man, it's there. It's there. I think if anybody's wondering, I think the biggest thing right now is just obviously speculation is that, without having Sebastian, right, whether alive or not, they get one chance, right? And so I think, they really need, enough solid evidence, to make it stick.
And I'm sure he'll go 0 to 6,900, maybe 1,000.
Okay.
Well, first off, when you come on somebody's property, you're supposed to announce yourself because we have it posted.
The door. It's the worst experience of my life.
Trying to find you.
I'm not hard to find.
Okay, when do you want it? Let's set this up. When do you want to meet? Whenever. We're at Memphis.
Yeah.
I'll be in Jackson tomorrow, so I can meet you. I can I can come all the way to Memphis if that's what you require, or you can meet me somewhere in between.
Well, I would prefer you come see me because I work nights. So 9 to 1 when you guys are up, I'm actually sleeping.
She needs
turn to Katie and say, well, I'm here now. How about you and I sit down? And then watch for or listen for his reaction. Because he said a little bit ago, there's no way you're going to talk to her without me going through me, something to that effect, right?
Yeah. Yes,
so
and I think he expects on that too.
No, you want to pull that control mechanism even further out of him. Okay, you want to see that behavior, see how long it takes for that behavior to manifest itself.
If you got a hold of this audio, obviously none of this is implicating them in the crime. It's about, there's no proof of anything, but I mean, look, you look at behaviors, you look at patterns, you look at
take advantage of that.
Yeah.
You and Katie, it's just going to be you.
He'll watch this tonight. at some point and go nuts. He'll be sitting at home yelling at us at the screen.
Man, he is so on it. I guaranteed they're what, probably watch. I mean, yeah, anything that's about Sebastian. We know that they've been doing that, for the longest time.
Dude, whatever.
Yeah.
Unless Katie's coming down to see me, well, she can't. We have other things that have to happen at the house. It wouldn't be together. The only time we're going to be together might be Sunday, Monday. That's when we might actually be back together again.
Okay, well,
I'm working.
I mean, I'd rather do it both at the same time. I mean, you already said you don't want me talking to your wife without you present. So
Right.
that would mean,
and you can ask the cops that. They don't show up and talk to her without somebody telling us both. That's
Okay.
just the way this works. That's safety in numbers. I don't trust. Don't take it the wrong way.
His face.
well, and I mean, we wouldn't know each other. I mean, we have no reason to know each other prior to this. But
it's not hard to make a phone call and talk to somebody first. Blah, blah, blah.
yeah.
That's fine.
However, my history with cases like this is that, especially with you guys are already defensive.
Right, I understand that. Not everybody in this world is like that. Not everybody is like that. I'm not. I'll be honest, I'm level-headed, I'm very brash, I'm blunt to the point. I've already told the cops this. I don't give a flying fuck what happens to him or what happens to that fucking family.
Yeah.
They did what they did.
Yeah. I would like, what would be really great in a perfect world.
And that's why I want to hear from his wives.
That
It didn't help Sebastian when he aired his trauma. It didn't help Sebastian when he accused his mother of murder. It didn't help Sebastian when he made almost $50,000 on my son going missing.
Who did?
Seth.
Yeah.
Don't know. I didn't know about that.
So she's obviously got money on her mind. She's obviously got, this idea that his mother was accused of murder. Well, how would Sebastian know all this? How would Sebastian know? I mean, she's using Sebastian as a pawn in the conversation.
Yeah.
Where in reality, what she's really saying is, I hate him because he's made money and he's accused me of hurting my son. That's what she should be saying. But what she did, though, is she inserted Sebastian in that role of how is he helping Sebastian by accusing and then making money and just going down a list.
Yeah.
Okay, what does that have to do with Sebastian?
Well, nothing. I mean, it seems like they're airing grievances is what they're.
Okay, so we almost have 600 people in here. Thank you guys so much. Please hit that like button. I'm playing just a few clips. This is Josh from the Lab channel, who has Chris McDonald on. Also has his own YouTube channel. I will put the link to that in the description. I was so busy getting all the security footage and looking over it. And so, I mean, I've been really busy. But again, we'll play just a couple more highlights. And then while we're looking at the surveillance footage, I'll try to get that link in there as well. But if you haven't seen it, definitely go check it out. I forget all of Chris McDonald's background. Someone wants to let me know in the chat. Obviously, former law enforcement, but yeah, and still working, behind the scenes, cold cases. It's amazing.
They're doing instead
of her attention is focused on Seth because the PI that he's allegedly hired is at her door, and so Heather's taken it for the team. But again, what does that have to do with how is that hurting Sebastian?
Yeah, I don't know. Let's listen to that part again.
I'm going missing. It didn't help Sebastian.
Yeah, I would like, what would be really great in a perfect world would be if I could calm that down a little bit, because right now, but it's not this isn't helping Sebastian.
She's right. So whatever they're doing right now, right at this very moment,
Yeah,
this discussion that they're having about property lines and stuff, It's not helping Sebastian. Okay. So we've got that out of the way. They didn't want her walking on the easement, and I'm not
Because he investigated.
Him, I tried to work with him.
We were all in my house.
Mm-hmm.
Me, Katie, Seth, and 2 other witnesses and law enforcement were in the house.
Yeah.
I brought up, what can we do to help with this situation?
Right. Okay.
And when I said, hey, do we need to raise money? Do we need to get some investigators? What do we need? Horses, whatever. We'll do whatever.
Yeah.
They said, don't do anything with money because it makes the family look bad and it could turn ugly. Okay, cool. All of us standing in that living room in my house made an agreement that said we were not going to do that.
Okay. Well, so
hold on. Before we go deep, turn your phone around. Not you, hers. I want to see the face of her phone.
Oh, that she's.
You want to see the face of my phone? Let me unlock it.
This conversation.
Stop. Look how he just talked to his wife. He said, turn your phone around. And she did. He goes, not you, hers.
Yep.
Now think about that. Okay. I mean, let's process the meat grinder here, because I'm going to start calling him the meat grinder, because that's what he is. He's a meat grinder. Okay. Who, by the way, deep down inside is extremely insecure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. He really is. I mean, this is a very clear indication of a problem here. There's only 2 possibilities.
I'm going to pause it here just real quick. Sebastian's Army, thank you so much for the membership. And Widow Bailey, thank you so much for becoming a member and supporting this channel. God bless you. I appreciate you guys. I'm sorry I paused it. I know he's getting to a probably an interesting thought. I'm going to top off my coffee, so I'm going to go full screen real quick so he does this thing real quick and I get my coffee. We're going to look at surveillance footage here in about 5 minutes. Yep. I'm just going to go full screen so I can get my coffee here.
With this child. For the first one is foul play. And the second one is, if he did walk out of the house, the biggest indicator that autism that he has could have been in play here was the fact that he walked out of the house with no shoes on. There have been many cases where autistic children have walked out of the house without their shoes, and they've walked for miles and miles and miles and miles. Okay. However, the other side of it is he is not doing himself any favor with the authorities if he thinks he's got them snowballed. There is not a chance on this earth that the authorities are sitting back and going, I don't see anything wrong with that guy, with the meat grinder. Okay. I'm listening to this call for the very first time within 50 days of this child disappearing, and all they want to do is fight about the ex-husband. Okay. And it just doesn't make it again, it goes to show you there is no impulse control here. So what the authorities should be doing is, rather than playing nice with him, worried that he's going to lawyer up, because I'm sure he's already lawyered up.
Why, Mama has.
Yes, they have. They have. I don't know at this point in time, but they're lawyered up now.
Yep.
And it's also, it was reported by somebody, I believe his name, Nerdy Addict, who was talking to Chris Proudfoot, that Katie was pulled in for an interview some time ago alone. And she didn't like the way that the questioning was going. So she called Chris, and Chris shut it down. That's the same exact information that I got from a different source. The exact same information. That's true. That was the last time that they spoke to law enforcement.
Yep. Okay. So the way that can be fixed is you just keep poking the bear. Don't play nice. If this was my case,
I know I'm getting my stick ready, and I know others are as well. But yeah, we are going to be poking real soon here.
I would call him up and say, you're doing pretty good. What do you mean by that? And let him go 0 to 60. And then you follow it up with, but I'm coming. Click.
Ooh.
And then you just watch the helium rise to the sky. And you jump on the comet as it's going by. You use his anger against him.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And you embrace it as an investigator. Embrace it.
Yeah, that's his.
And then keep
Achilles heel.
Keep pushing him a little more. Keep pushing. We're 2 years into this, and what's he doing? Nothing. Well, so let's interview his ex-wives, Josh. You and I on this channel.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I don't know. I mean, I know of Nina. I forget the other ones. That would be really interesting. Especially if we could get Nina. I mean, I don't know, with the whole because they have custody thing with Faith. I don't know if Nina would come forward or not. But man, that would be wild. Yeah, Jazz. Yeah, I don't blame him. I mean, if he knows he's not going to be able to work because he wants to go find his son, and he's thinking at that time that his son wandered off. He's I'm sure as days go on, he's starting to learn that things aren't adding up. But yeah, at that time, you can't blame him if he's like a lot of people living paycheck to paycheck. He's going to do whatever he can to find his son, right? And what's the harm if people are willing to help out? There's no harm in that. It's absolutely ridiculous. The whole bringing up the GoFundMe. It's
$90 or $100 says he jumps into the chat.
Oh yeah,
he probably would.
Oh,
Yeah,
I bet he would.
He does that quite often.
Great. Awesome. Jump in.
Oh, thank you, Tracy.
And then, of course, you always hear, oh, I'm going to sue you and all this other crap. Okay, fine. Remember I told you years ago during the OJ case, one of our guys in our squad went out and he got all these Johnny Cochran cards, these business cards with Johnny Cochran's phone number, his law office is on it. And you'd be out there, and everybody was like, I'm suing you. I'm calling Johnny Cochran. Literally, you reach in your pocket and you go,
oh, well, because after the OJ, that makes sense. That's funny.
We had like 100 Johnny Cochran cards on the streets. Okay.
That is kind
Can
of
you
funny.
imagine how many phone calls that guy got?
Yeah, he was pretty talented, wasn't he?
He got hundreds. He got hundreds of phone calls.
Yeah. All right, let's play maybe one or two more here, and then we'll get to the surveillance here. I appreciate everybody. Sensei, good to see you, sweetie. Oh, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. God bless you. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, we've had a lot of gifted memberships. That's awesome. Okay, let's find one or two more here towards the end.
But yeah,
no
but
offense, I'm just asking.
But no, I mean, I'm not a sleuth. I'm actually a PI.
I didn't call you a sleuth.
Yeah.
Oh,
please.
Because I know you won't.
That truly
Sebastian is not his son, number one.
It's true.
Okay. So he's taken possession of Seth's emotional attachment to his biological son. That's not normal.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Okay? He's a stepfather.
Right.
And stepfathers typically, have a difficult time with stepchildren unless they've raised them from, a real, like babies almost, right? And this is where, moms say, well, let me handle it. Let me fix it, etc. Okay. And the proper position for a stepfather is to step back and say, you know what, you're right. I don't want to, pour gas on a fire.
Right.
What I'm hearing here is he's an arsonist. He's an emotional arsonist.
And narcissist.
Okay. All he does is light fires and then stands back, watches them and enjoys the burn, and then say, why are you blaming me for the fire?
That's so true.
And she is in a submissive role because she's probably afraid of him.
Mm-hmm.
And we have Dawn and Candace dynamics here without the prison terms. Dawn was in prison for so long, his whole life, quote, he grew up in the system. But the baggage train on, the meat grinder here is 4 other women and probably children that he was abusive to in relationship to emotional abuse and, stress put onto the family. Okay. And so his whole MO, again, he's an emotional arsonist. So he lights the fire and then he screams, you don't understand what it's like to watch the fire burn. And so my assessment of him from a criminal behavioral analysis assessment almost immediately is he has mommy issues.
Oh, he's not gonna like that.
A lot of them.
Oh, he's poking the bear. He is poking the bear on purpose. Oh, these are little jabs. Yeah, I only watched like the first half, because I like I said, I think this came out yesterday, and as I was going to bed, I'm like, oh, I'm excited to watch this. And of course, I was super tired, but I got maybe halfway through. But man, I love his insight. I'm gonna play one more thing, and then we'll get to the surveillance.
He internally for him, he's never been able to hit a standard that his mommy set for him.
Okay.
And so he takes it out on her, on the women around him. This guy has, a pathway of fires. And he turns around and looks back and says, why did you start all of those? You made me light the match. You see? I had a case one time where a guy ran his wife off the road. She was with her girlfriend.
Okay. Because again, I want to play all of it because again, I want people to go and check this out. Let me find one more towards the end here. And then we'll move to the surveillance here.
And put him on the dark web for trafficking. And
was it 9 or 10? It was 9 or 10 o'clock, I believe.
Okay. 9 or 10 o'clock, whatever it is. Okay. Either way, she yells.
Went to bed at midnight.
Yeah. Go to bed. She goes to bed at midnight. And then from midnight to what? 6 a.m?
Nothing. Yeah. And then she wakes him up. She goes to wake him up for school. He's gone.
Okay. So you got 6 hours.
Entry, no forced entry. Shoes are there. Everything that I guess would be dear to him is there.
So somehow a perpetrator makes it into the house to take him and put him on the dark web for trafficking.
Correct.
And leaves nothing behind, no evidence, no nothing. It's just, he's gone. He vanished. All right?
Gone and vanished. That's right.
Okay. How much is the bridge in Brooklyn? I forget.
I don't know, but it certainly is for sale.
Can get that done. Not me personally, but I know somebody. Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
Please.
Okay,
I mean,
last one
you're
here.
not more for me, but
Yeah, no, but that's, I mean, is that how you feel? That's what you think is going on?
everybody keeps talking about trafficking and trafficking and trafficking.
Yeah.
And they just found 11 missing kids. And
Right.
everybody's
All the matter of fact,
Oh, sure. They let him run. He's
chance that he wouldn't have been found. None.
which by the
And trafficking. And they just found 11 missing kids.
See, what she's doing is transferring the conversation to other people. Okay. The reason that's happening is because internally she knows that's not the answer. Because she's saying everybody keeps talking about trafficking and trafficking and trafficking. And what's happening subconsciously is she's going, well, that's not what happened. That's not what happened. That's not what happened. Okay. And then she qualifies it. Go ahead.
And
Right.
everybody's going after this whole sex offender bullshit. So if there's anything to it,
See, she knows that's not true.
Oh, that's
So
interesting.
she's leaking subconsciously something going on internally. So in an interview, you would say to somebody like that,
Whoa.
it's interesting you brought that up. Help me understand what you mean. Okay. And let her elaborate even further. Okay. To the point where you can say, well, what's your theory? So let's listen to what happens.
and someone took him and it's trafficking,
Mm-hmm.
where would they go?
Right.
Because if he were within 5 miles of this house, there's no chance that he wouldn't have been found. None. Because I know
Stop.
every single.
You see how she positioned that?
Yeah. Yeah, it was almost kind of like, here, you go chase down this BS that I don't even believe. Here you go.
Yeah.
Well, she said, see, if he were within 5 miles of this house. Okay. Okay. So you'd want to stop her and ask, do you know how far away he is? Why did you choose 5 miles
Yeah.
as a reference point? Keep going.
Play just a
Group.
little bit more and then we'll.
Agency, technology,
Go back.
Yeah.
everything that was brought in. There's no chance he was within 5. He were within 5 miles of
Going on.
Everybody keeps talking about trafficking and trafficking and trafficking.
Yeah.
And they just found 11 missing kids. And
Right.
everybody's going after this whole sex offender bullshit. So if there's anything to it and someone took him and it's traffic.
By the way, don't look within 5 miles because he would have been found already.
Well, she knows it's not true.
That's a ridiculous thing to say. Why would you say that?
She's telling the world right there. In her heart of hearts, mind to mind, she's telling the world that trafficking is BS. She says it.
Yeah.
Play it again. Listen carefully.
Mm-hmm.
Where would they?
Yeah. I can get that done. Going on.
I mean, you're not more for me, but
Yeah, no, but that's, I mean, is that how you feel? That's what you think is going on?
everybody keeps talking about trafficking and trafficking and trafficking.
Yeah.
And they just found 11 missing kids. And
Right.
everybody's going after this whole sex offender bullshit. So if there's anything to it and someone took him and it's trafficking,
Mm-hmm.
where would they
Stop.
go?
Right.
If someone took him and it's trafficking, if someone took him and it's trafficking, play that again. Listen very carefully.
He's
because
so
of
amazing.
and someone took him, and it's traffic after this came. And
is going on.
everybody keeps talking about trafficking and trafficking and trafficking. And they just found 11 missing kids, and everybody's going after this whole sex offender bullshit. So if there's anything to it and someone took him and it's trafficking, where would they go?
If there's
Because if
anything to it and it's trafficking, okay, what she's doing is she's projecting that she doesn't even believe it.
And this is a good point here. And Kelsey, thank you for donating 5 lab memberships. This is why you don't let her talk, right?
Exactly.
You just have that in the chat over here.
This is great. I mean, this is good stuff.
Yep.
he were within 5 miles of this house, there's no chance that he wouldn't have been found. None. Because I know every single
group,
agency, technology,
that
everything that was brought in. There's no chance he was.
Okay, I'll leave it there. I don't want to play any. I mean, obviously, I'd love to play a list of everything, but of course, this is on the lab, and there's so much more. I know there's, we played probably a quarter of Chris's insight to this interaction that happened in April. Between Heather, Katie, and Chris, who was on the phone. Very interesting stuff. I will, as we look at the surveillance footage, I'll see if I can try to add that into my description. If not, I'll put it right at the end of the show, just in case if anybody missed it and would like to, check that out, because that's amazing insight. So, let's see here. Let's see. Let's see. Let's do this one first. Give me just a second here. Let me get the chat. Let me speed this up just a little bit. So this is it. This is right at midnight. Actually, this is the night before he went missing. I just want to point out one thing on this, and then we'll get to the 26th and point out a few things I noticed, and in that morning as well. But let me just get caught up on chat, because I know there was some stuff here. Diana, good to see you. Deanna, I'm sorry. Member for 7 months. Sebastian Army Strong. Thank you so much, Deanna, for the support. God bless. Joanne Marie says, if my child were missing, I'd be grateful for the help. Yeah, that's what we see. In cases that, and what I've experienced with, there's no kind of foul play. Again, these cases, Sebastian Rogers, there's so many kids that go missing, and, Sebastian Rogers' case is what I call like the 1%ers, the ones that make the national media, right? Where you have all these other missing children and parents that would, die to be able to have this kind of exposure and, yes, help in any shape or form. Bad actors. Do live on Katie's past and CP will react. Oh yeah, remember his reaction to PI on Web Sleuth. Time to poke. Yes, yeah, you're referring to. I know which one you're talking about, where he's just F-bombing left and right. I think you're talking about Heather and Chloe and him responding to that. Oh, yeah, he flipped the F out. Cheryl, thank you so much for the Mob Crew membership gifting. That is so sweet. Always gifting memberships. Thank you so much for the support. And we've got Lakeside Lawyer. Good to see you in here. Glad I caught a live. Justice for Sebastian. Oh, I'm so glad you're in here. Member for 10 months. Thank you so much, Lakeside. God bless. Hope you're doing well. Okay, so here is what did I want to point out on this one? So this is the night before he went missing. As you can see, let me move this. I'm gonna probably change out my layup here, or I'll probably get rid of everything up here so I can do more bigger full screen stuff. So I'll probably change that, my aesthetic here. Anyway, so one thing I want to point out. So this is when we see the first time, at least as far as we know, that silver sedan. And I just wanted to point something out. So it appears this neighbor, and again, I only have 2 nights to go off right now, but you'll notice, and again, it's really small, at 12:10 almost. And I apologize. You're going to see a light come on. Now, I just want to point that out. Now, this is the neighbor that will walk his dog sometimes late at night, and I don't know all the routines, but yeah, he walks his dog, and he'll go up Devon Court, and then he'll come down Kellen. Anyway, it's interesting. He turns on his light, and then that light just stays on for the rest of the night. And that's both on the 25th and the 26th. The reason I wanted to point that out is I thought it was kind of interesting because, shortly after that is when we get the 12:15 sedan. Oh, right here. And again, this is the vehicle we see on the 25th, the night before he goes missing. The 26th at 3 a.m. when he goes missing, and then on the 27th at 3:15, the night after he went missing. I've analyzed it. I'm like 99, well, we'll say like 95% sure it's the same silver sedan, likely a Honda Accord. There could be a little bit of wiggle room for maybe I think a Honda Civic and a Hyundai Sonata, I believe, but Honda Accord is at the top. Anyway, I just wanted to point that out. I thought that was kind of interesting. If this car is involved, I do wonder, I'm sure that if it is involved, could they be doing some surveillance? And, obviously we only have a certain amount of days of footage. Was this car showing up at different times, before Sebastian went missing, to kind of like make note of, what's going on in the neighborhood, right? Could be multiple things. If you want to get even more kind of conspiracy, are they scanning who's got surveillance cameras, and stuff like that. But yeah. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So let's skip forward. But as you notice, that light stays on. I don't see him walking his dog that I can see. But we know the next night he'll do that. So let's move to the 26th now. Okay. All right. That. Yeah, I'll have to try to. Yeah, there's so much because I've got a lot going on. But I will keep that in mind. And yeah, I think all our all the creators. I think there's a lot of us that have different theories on what exactly happened, but at the end of the day, we're here for Sebastian, and that's what matters, And in my opinion, I think it's good to kind of keep an open mind and not get locked into one theory, because you never know. So this is the night he went missing. So right now I have many hours, all of it. And right now, this is between midnight and 1 a.m. on the night he went missing. Now, this one, of course, as we just kind of scroll through forward here. This is where we get, now remember how I told you the night before on the 25th, this guy turned on his light at 12:09, 12:10 we'll say, and then watch. Right there. So you can see, at least, we only have 2 nights to go off, but it appears that this guy has a routine of kicking on his light for whatever reason, and then it's just left on. I'm assuming maybe it's the porch light. But this is the one that he actually comes out and walks his dog. Of course, this is the footage that, that POS wannabe Timu PI tried to claim that this guy was, Sebastian, basically, or Sebastian was hiding from him, but there he is walking. Again, I'm not zooming in on anything right now because I've got the full hour footage here, and we're just kind of highlighting some things. But of course, as I mentioned before, at 12:17 is when, he's walking here and you see a subject go. But again, before all that, here I'm kind of scrolling through, allegedly Sebastian, comes somewhere and hides from this guy, and then darts off. But as you can see, I've got all the footage. There's no, if Sebastian came through here where those 1 dogs were coming, we would clearly see, a figure coming through here, or if he was coming up the street, he would set off the motion detector. And as you can see, as I kind of just skip through the footage of the first hour on midnight, other than this guy waking up and walking his dog at 12:18, he goes back in. And of course, we know that Fish Sticks would have seen that, but of course he left that out because that wouldn't fit his narrative. But if we just skip forward after that, there is something here. Something sets off the motion. Now keep in mind there's cats that do roam around this neighborhood. Something triggers that. Then comes off. That gets triggered off and on. And again, at one point you'll see a cat come around. There's a couple of cats. As a matter of fact, there's a deer that I saw that comes around early in the morning. So from there's that. Let's see. So again, something sets it off, but again, there's no movement. Likely a cat or an animal, but I don't see any figure walking. So we'll move on from that one. Let's see. Okay, 26. 1 a.m. Again, this is all new footage. I have not played before, and this is the full footage from the night Sebastian disappeared. And there's some interesting things to point out from this. And some experiments I tried to do. But again, this is all the footage from midnight to 8 a.m. And we're just kind of scrolling through it here. So remember, this is between the hours of when he allegedly, wandered off. But as you can see, as I'm slowly just kind of skipping forward here, nothing going on. So nothing there. So that was 1 a.m. Oh yeah, if you're wondering, and this is a pivotal camera. Keep in mind, because they want to claim that he made it to this stupid construction thing. And remember, there's more cameras, but we're basically, so we have Sebastian's home here. We are looking up Kellen here at the T. So if he would have went down Devon, which he would have had to come up Kellen, I don't think he can get bypassed this way, because the yards all got fenced and stuff like that. But yeah, we're about here, and we are looking, and that house that, with the guy with the dog is right here. So keep in mind, we can see the guy coming in and out. Of course, it's just little mini pixels, but it just shows that we can pick up a guy that's, this is about 300 plus feet away. I think like 350 to 400 feet away from the camera itself. And we are just looking from this house up Kellen. We can see all of this here. If I go to Street View, man, I don't get why they didn't go up this street. They recently went up the neighborhood, at least Stafford. I don't know why they didn't go up this one, but anyway, we're kind of back a little bit, but yeah, man, but that's the house. Again, this is just such an old 2007, kind of wild to think about. So anyway, there's that. But anyway, oh, did I load up? Okay, we did 1 a.m. All right, 2 a.m. Okay, this is where I think things start to get really important, right? Because this is when, if he did make it home, this is when the abduction took place. So now we are looking at 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. So I'm slowly just moving it forward here. Okay, so something triggers the motion light at 2:12. Again, there's cats, but you never know. Remember, for him to get to that construction site, he'd either be walking up here, or how they want to try to say that he cut through, because this is where that one dog came through. There's these two houses, and there's just no way he would not be seen coming through here. And anyway, so moving on. There'll be some interesting things. But again, this is, a lot of this footage I've only just kind of proofed over. We're at 240. Okay, so something happens here at 240. Motion light gets activated again. Okay. We're going to get to 3 a.m. here in just a minute. Okay. Oh, there's Mr. Meowston. So there's a culprit right there. Oh, but guess who comes right after Kitty shows up? So just know where we're at. If only we could speak to the cat. And I've got some interesting stuff for you guys. I did enhance the audio because I told you guys I'm trying to think outside the box. I enhanced the audio on some things. You know, can you hear Katie calling out for Sebastian? Can we hear anything from this camera? It sucks. This homeowner has 3 cameras. And of course, out of the 3, this one has like the worst audio. It still has audio. But man, the other 2 have much better audio capabilities. But here comes a familiar something. 258. There is the possible car that may have been involved in moving Sebastian. Same car that was seen the night before at 12:15. Since we've already kind of seen this, I'm going to skip. There it goes. Play this last 20 seconds. And so there is that. No Sebastian. Right? No Sebastian wandering on Kellen or Devin. Believe me, if he's there, you know I'd find him. Okay. Now 3 a.m. Okay, give me a second. I'll restart this. Let me right there. Okay, let me restart this. Oops, hold on 1 second. Okay. Okay, so this is kind of interesting. So remember, we just had the 3 a.m. car, and this is new footage that I have. You know, sorry, I got an itch. You know, I've only seen some of the motion clips, some extended clips, but a lot of this is all new, right? I'm getting the full hours, right? So this is right after the 3 a.m. car, that silver car just went back, right? So let's see. I'm going to turn up the audio, and I did enhance the audio. We'll listen to an audio clip. I may have captured something. It could be nothing. But yeah, let's play. Because remember, in kind of the theory, this is when the abduction or they're moving his clothes back to the home. This is when it'd be going on. So I think that was the motion light that just stopped after the car went down. Okay, I'm going to pause it here just so you guys understand what's going on. This is likely, in my opinion, the time when, so we're looking this way and we got audio on, but remember, just down the street is where allegedly the 3 a.m. lights and everything are going to be going on right now. That 3 a.m. car, if that's the car that's involved, we know no matter what, there's a car at around 3 a.m. So just keep in mind, even though, you know, we're a little bit up here looking this way, you know, we got our audio on, and I've got it jacked up, and I've got an enhanced audio clip we'll listen to right after. But I'm going to play these 10 minutes because this is allegedly when things are going on. I'm trying to keep my eye over here because if any lights kind of maybe like if the car just happened to be pointing up the street, we might see some light. So I'm kind of really keeping my eye focused right around in this area here and the audio. Heard something there. Yeah, it kind of sounds like rain. It'll sound like that. I'm not gonna lie, Little Red. Wait until like you hear the enhanced audio. But there are one thing I don't want to make it. You know, I want to blow it up because it could be some distortion or something. But there is two noises I hear. It's about like 308 or 310, somewhere between that. Yeah, remember, a lot of this is just distortion, and it's going to kind of, because the audio's really cranked up, and so you're just getting... what I would do to have the other camera's audio. Oh my god. We got 5 more minutes to listen to, and then I'll play the highlights, the enhanced, just a couple of noises I hear. I'm just curious to see if we see any kind of movement or lights right here. Yeah, I'll play that I Spy. There is something. I think at 307 or 308 is when we hear two things. The distortion will play with your mind. You'll think you're hearing voices. I promise you, probably 99% of that is just because I do too. I trust me. I think it's coming up, but we're gonna hear the enhanced audio here in just a second. Oh, here it comes. Okay, we're gonna play this last minute and a half, and then I'll play the enhanced audio. Last minute. I'm gonna pause it here. Good to see you, Betty. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for tuning in. Okay. Let's see. What should I do? Okay, I'm gonna leave that there for just a second. Okay. Oh, why is it not in order? That's my latest projects. Recent files. There we go. That's all the same one, right? Oh, I guess I am gonna have to count. There it is. Okay. Okay, so here is Kellen from 3 a.m. to 3:10. I should have probably added some few more minutes. Is this the one that I had finished? Anyway, let me zoom in. Keep in mind, I had so many. I was working on like 5 different things, and that's probably lying. I'm probably just working on like 10 different things today. So, so there's some kind of noise. Now that just sounds, could be anything. Sorry, that may be a little loud. Let me turn this down just a little bit. I'll run a noise reduction just in a second. Hold on. Oh, it's over here. It's over here. Okay. course. There's something that right there. Let me do this real quick. Again, like I said, working on so many different things. Okay, hold on. Let me do this real quick. Okay. And I need to check the values on this here. So here are our highlights. We got something at 302, something at 303, something at 309, which is what I. And again, it could be a multitude of things. Maybe I could put this audio up on the maybe I'll put the original on Patreon. No paywall or anything. And if you guys want to, again, I'm not going to claim I'm an expert at enhancing audio. I would say I'm a average, right? But I know there's others that are, I'm sure much better than me, but I understand the course concept and yeah. Anyway, yeah, there's a couple of interesting things. It's really hard when you're listening to white noise like this because you're going to start to hear voices, right? And so, and again, I keep in mind I'm getting all this footage and I'm trying to work different angles, so there's so much more potential and avenues to go down, but I just, I'm trying to prepare for a show and I'm trying to get all this. So anyway, keep that all in mind. But there is a couple of things that I'll look at and I'll let you guys know. I'm sure the audio should be no problem. I'll upload it to the Patreon, and again, no paywall or anything. And if you want to, see if you, for those that might be more experienced, yeah, by all means. But I do want to just emphasize, try to be careful with saying like, oh, we hear voices, right? I don't want to get into that thing where, with the other I don't want to say nonsense, but I think there was somebody misleading saying that, that you could hear Chris and Katie talking and the camera that they said it was coming from, that's complete nonsense because that camera, which is the 3 a.m. lights, that camera literally does not have audio, so that it could not come from that camera. All right, continuing on. There's much more. So, and I'll read chat here. Let me finish this hour. So again, this is a crucial hour. And let me just see if we can see anything here. This is I'm not sure if you're talking about the audio. This is from this camera off Killen. That's looking up Devon, and everything that's going on is about 800 feet south down this way, right? Now, fortunately, this camera has at least 3 cameras, and it does have one facing the other way. I don't know if we have all the footage from that. That camera has much better audio. Of course, go figure. But anyway, work with what we got. But again, so let's see what we see real quick as we go through 3 o'clock. And wait until we get to 6 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so we have a vehicle. Oh, this is the Uber driver at 3:30. He drives past, and look how slow he's going, right? Compared to even just when he's coming up. Compared that to the silver sedan. I mean, look at this guy. And Katie. Think about Katie in the silver sedan. Like, they just zip by, right? Anyway, so that's that. We skip forward. So we're going to see a lot of the motion light because, you know, it's the neighbor. So obviously he's packing up, so that light goes off a bit. But from there, there is nothing. Nothing. No Sebastian, right? I can do my best. Again, I don't want to say I have my flaws. I've used Audacity for a long time. But again, there's a lot of tech savvy people. But again, you guys are seeing for the first time surveillance, the whole thing, not just motion clips. This is the whole thing, right? Unadulterated, right? Unlike fish sticks, where he's just going to take some clips and take it out of context and tell you, oh, look, there's Sebastian, hiding behind a car. So then this is where it gets interesting because, we have the DoorDash guy right at 3:30. And then there's something you start to notice. And that is that things start to happen, in the neighborhood. A little bit of activity. Oh, and I'm going to show you guys the garbage truck and kind of how they work. It's kind of interesting to see that. So here is 4 o'clock now, right? Wind starts to pick up. We're at 4:15. This person, their light kicks on. "4:30 a.m. Oh, yep. So neighbor going to work or something maybe, but yep, you can see lights kicking on. So about 4 a.m. And this is just one little piece of the neighborhood, right? It's not a big neighborhood, but even from this little piece, by 3:30, 4 a.m., things are starting to happen in the neighborhood, and this is just what we can see, right? So, this whole window between midnight and 6 really starts to squeak down to like midnight and 3 a.m. in my opinion, because there's a lot of different, again, it's not everybody's up moving around, but still you're going to notice like more and more things start happening to where it's like, I really doubt it. Just makes the statistics of him wandering around, not being seen by somebody, go much further down. So here we are at 4:50. Definitely can hear the wind kicking up. And yeah, no Sebastian, right? Because if he's going to get to that construction site, it's got to come through this camera, right? Rachel says, look at yard with camera. I mean, you guys can go back and look at my live after and, kind of scan some of this. Again, I've talked about maybe, I have to get an okay with the person, but, I mentioned this many times before, but, I may upload this onto my Patreon. Again, not behind a paywall or anything, but I prefer Patreon just so, it's not on YouTube and, it's basically just kind of like my website. So now we get to 5 a.m. Now we get to trash truck, and you get to see how the trash truck guys work if you're kind of curious about how that works. And then we're going to get to 6 a.m. and see Katie and what happens before and after. And there's something interesting I want to point out. Hopefully hindsight's in here. I'm sure she says. I'm kind of curious to get her ideas on that. But yeah. So again, and this took a lot, guys. This took a long time to get all this downloaded. Then I had to put all this because I'm getting 1 minute clips at a time, right? So I'm literally putting 1 full hour together minute by minute. So this is, a lot of work. And again, not just me. There's other people behind the scenes that deserve just as much credit, if not more. So a lot of moving parts. Again, we are going to take a huge swing at these people, or at least I am, but I know others are as well. And again, surveillance, as we always mention, it's unbiased. It has no allegiance, right? Where was the Uber picking up the one going to the airport? What road? We watched that, Marie. I didn't, we saw the car go up. He goes up killing, and then he turns around and then parks into it. And then he's seen on the other camera. But I'm not going to play that clip, because again, I have to be. The reason I've been able to release the footage in little spurts is that I've been trying to be very respectful to those that allowed me to get this, if that makes sense, right? Because we've seen how Fish Sticks has used it. In such careless ways. And, so I'm trying to be really respectful because, again, this is a huge privilege for me to be able to share this with you guys. And, this is a lot of work behind the scenes and building trust and rapport with the, people that allowed me to use this. Rich, I see your your thing. Yeah, I'll do that later. I got so much right now, Rachel. I appreciate it. I will look at it, but I'm trying to just not get sidetracked at the moment here. Okay, so now we have 5 a.m. This is when the trash trucks are going to come, right? Because I'm really hoping some of these the people on the other side are watching and saying, look, there's nothing to hide. There's no reason to, clip these up and, oh, look at the guy with, the flashlight wandering around. Oh, that's suspicious. Or, the guy, Sebastian hiding behind a vehicle when it's really just a guy walking his dog. And if he would have just showed 2 minutes later, you would have seen the guy walking back into his home. But again, I'm not doing that. Now, if we had time, I would just play the whole damn thing. But again, I haven't really asked, for full permission to, do that, even though we're really playing the whole thing. But anyway, we'd be doing like a 12-hour live if I was doing that. So anyway, so now we're at 5 a.m. And we're going to have the trash truck. Okay, here's the trash truck. Wait, what is that? Oh, that's the guy running up ahead. Okay. So this is how the trash truck runs. If you saw that there's a guy running up ahead. Looks like he's kind of multitasking. Oops, I want to back that up just a little bit more. Because I'm surprised they didn't try to use this. Oh, look, there's a guy running, and not, and try to use that as being Sebastian. So it looks like there's a trash truck because there's at least two guys, or at least one guy, dragging the garbage cans, so then it can get lifted up. But looks like we see a guy kind of running up ahead of the trash can to, yeah, here he comes. He's getting it ready. And he wheels it up. Lifts up the lid, and then you got two guys working it. So probably one guy for each side of the street, and then the driver, I'm assuming, is how that maybe worked. Yep. Man, they're quick. So that's kind of interesting to see how that goes. Rob says, I'm off tomorrow. Let's do 12 hours, please. I appreciate your tenaciousness. But yeah. Yeah, don't give them ideas, Christy. I know exactly. That's why I just mention it now, because I could see them doing it. Anyway, but yeah, I think that's kind of interesting to see how that works, right? How the garbage can guy works. So here we are at 5 a.m. So remember, we're getting close to that 6 a.m. mark. Hear something, but they can't. Oh, the birds start. Yeah, the birds start kind of coming in. Yep. Oh, this is kind of cool looking. So you're gonna see the light, sun coming up here, right here. Here we are. So far, right there to 6 o'clock. No Sebastian running around. So now we're going to get to 6 a.m. There's a couple of things. I wanted to enhance the audio because remember, allegedly, she goes out there screaming for Sebastian's name, which I think part of that is true because allegedly the neighbor across the street did say that did happen. Oh dang, I was hoping to see. Okay, so it's a different one. Oh. Okay. Oh, thank you so much, Geneva. I appreciate that for the PayPal. God bless you. I missed somebody as well. Okay. Rachel, oh, thank you so much. And I did see your thing with the email. If I get time, I'll try to look at the end. I've got so much, guys. And yeah, there's just so much work. Okay. But again, I mean, you're literally seeing from midnight to 5 a.m. Yeah, we're fast forwarding it because there's just, I'm not going to do a 12-hour live right now. But, we skimmed through it. And I've skimmed through it a couple times. Not a lot because I've just got it. But, so far, no Sebastian, which, of course, doesn't surprise me. And remember, their main thing is Sebastian went over to the construction site. Well, he's got to get past this camera to do that. So this is 6 a.m. So remember, Katie's waking up. Oh, where's Sebastian? Right? So let's see what happens here. So now she's allegedly on her phone with Crispy. Oh, this is crazy. Look at this. This is kind of cool. Look at 614. Look at that. How cool is that? It's Bambi. That's kind of cool. That's kind of... Aww. And Seth wanted to take Sebastian hunting. It's a deer. Is that crazy? That's pretty wild. Anyway, so we're at 6:15. So we have this lady. I think it's a lady. She's got 2 dogs. Now she's gonna go. Now this is interesting. So I thought it was her. But she'll come important in a minute here because she goes up and down the street here. So now it's 6:20. Remember, this is about the time that Katie is allegedly coming outside, screaming for Sebastian. There's the bus, which is interesting. I find it interesting that that bus comes at 6:20. And then Katie leaves at approximately 6:22, to go to the school. Wonder if there's any kind of connection to that. So there's the bus. Now the bus doesn't turn on to Stafford at all. It just, if it were to pick anybody up, the bus would just stop here. This is the stop. If anybody's coming from Stafford or anybody from this neighborhood, it just goes up Kentland, turns around, and then picks anybody up right here. And this is the last, basically last stop, I think. One of the last stops. So Katie's allegedly screaming for Sebastian right now while speaking with the neighbor. Wonder if that's her vehicle. Then Katie drives to the school. And then here's the other thing I want to point out. Okay, there's KK. But watch this. Where is it? Hold on. Let me find her. Oh, I think it's after. Okay, I think it's after. Okay. So here comes KK. 6:32. There she is. Okay. Now, pay attention. She leaves. Now that's all we've seen before. Now watch what we see here in just a second. There it is. So there's the lady walking her dog. And this is right after we see KK driving down the street. And you would think, if you're looking for your child, right? It's early in the morning, so you're probably not seeing too many people in the neighborhood because people are still kind of waking up. You would think that KK would have an interaction. From what I understand, I don't think she had to interact with this person. Because look at that. If she would have, does this lady look like she's scoping around for Sebastian, right? Because don't you think you'd be like, you'd just kind of have your window down like, hey, I can't find my son, keep your eyes open. This lady, I'm assuming it's a lady. I'm pretty sure it is. Checks the mail and then she takes her trash in. But does it look like she's, looking? And again, this isn't against her. I'm just basically saying, like, there's a good possibility KK drove right past her. She's walking back up Killen. Yet KK did not take the time to say, hey, I'm missing my son. If you see him, keep your eyes peeled. But clearly she probably has no idea of that. And I just kind of wanted to point that out. Anyway, let's see. Let me play the audio. See if we can hear KK screaming for her son. Here is the audio from 6:16 to 6:25. Here's 6:20. This is when allegedly she went outside. That's at 6:20. I think that was the bus. Yeah, that's the bus. These are birds. This is at 6:22. Now, it could be this mic is just too far away, and that is totally plausible. But without actually having a sound test from someone screaming from her side and picking it again, this isn't the best audio. So, would we even hear her if she was screaming? Who knows? So there is that. There's much more to go over. Keep in mind, I just got all this stuff and I tried to but again, try to show it without any adulteration. And yeah, much more to go over. So let's and we're also gonna probably next live we're gonna look, and I have to kind of be careful, but we're gonna see who is, allegedly Henderson PD got there first. And I have to go look at it first because I don't want to. Again, I have to be very respectful with the neighbors and stuff. But it'd be interesting to see what law enforcement do we see that shows up. But again, I have to, get that footage first and go over it. But yeah.
It has been 453 days.
So okay. So we talked a little bit about this yesterday. And that is this black sedan or SUV. And I'm going to show you guys something. And of course, hindsight, if she's still in here, we'll go over. Let's see. What time do we start? 6:15. Oh, gosh, it's been 2 hours. I do apologize. It's a lot. Yeah, bird chirping. Yeah. Again, a lot to go over. Where does are you asking like where the home is at, Rachel? If that is, when we do this tomorrow or Sunday or something, I'll kind of give a little bit more context of everything, if that makes sense. No, Shelly. Now keep in mind, this is not like technically my footage. And yes, everything that I'm playing has law enforcement has, right? So definitely keep that in mind as well. But let's talk about green hoodie lady and some of the tips we have that combined with this. And I'll have to kind of keep it short. I can't believe it's already been 2 hours. But we will focus and narrow down the surveillance footage, right? Again, this is just something I came across today and had to do a lot behind the scenes. Usually I spend like 3 to 5 hours just preparing for a live, and I was literally getting all this footage. And yeah, anyway, let's get into the green hoodie, because I kind of want to go over this and just a couple of things to make a connection over here. Oh, I appreciate that, Kathy. I know. I know a lot of us would probably. I know a lot of you would stick through it because you want to find Sebastian. And again, I've got to talk to some people and see if I can. I think a lot of that footage, as long as it's not showing, any neighbors and and any license plates or anything like that. I think a good portion of that midnight to like say 4 a.m. I don't see a big issue with it, like uploading it to Patreon, as I mentioned before, unadulterated for anybody to go and take and go through it, right? Because that's what it's about. It's not about me being like fish sticks and trying to take certain clips, take them out of context, and produce this narrative, right? Anyway, so we'll go over Green Hoodie. I know, it's a topic that we've gone over a lot. Okay, sorry. I'm getting a lot of emails, and I will try to get back. Oh, and to the members, we'll do a pet outro for you guys tonight as well. But let's go over this. I've just got a couple of highlights. I'll probably go a little bit faster than I wanted to. Yeah, they definitely, Shelly. I can guarantee you that the footage I have, law enforcement has. I 100%. I promise you. Yeah. Okay. So let's. There was quite a few different angles that I want to go over, but let's just get to the Green Hoodie, and a couple things to point out here. So obviously, that Sunday day they go grocery shopping. They go back home. Then they go to Strike and Spare. They couldn't bowl, so they played on arcade. They said that they were having a great time. Although people that have seen the footage, even though it's really grainy and bad at the Strike and Spare, say, it doesn't look like he is having a really good time. Probably overstimulated, And then now we get at 6 a.m. or 6 a.m. Geez, around 6 p.m. or a little before that, we're at Texas Roadhouse. And of course, Sebastian does, he eats quite a bit, poor little guy, where Katie's just on her phone, right? You would think it'd be the opposite, where, it'd be the teenager on his phone and the mother, but no, she's on her phone. She has very little to eat, which is interesting. Then they leave, and then, of course, we have Green Hoodie lady that shows up. I know a lot of people have gone over this a million times. I just want to point out just a couple of highlights.
Reviewing this footage, you looking at, all right, every coming in. Let's Hoodie lady walking. Now, what I find.
So, of course, just before they finish paying up, Green Hoodie is walking up at 6:22, I believe. Might be 6:20. Let's see the timestamp again. And about time she gets to the car, interestingly enough, they now, Katie and Sebastian, are going to be paying for the food. So it is almost 6:20 here. So it's 6:22 is, I think, when Green Hoodie is walking up. It does make me wonder. I don't know. Is hindsight still in here? I know Dog and their team has released a lot of this footage. I'm just wondering, do we have every single moment? I think we do, but I'm just wondering if there may be like a little bit that's missing. I'd be curious. So anyway, it's 6:23. So remember, Green Hoodie walked up to the car at 6:22. So she's already been there for a minute, right? Oh, oops, I fast forwarded this a little too much. And of course, we have the interaction and everything. And something traded off. And of course, after it's traded off, Green Hoodie walks in. Of course, before that, waves to Sebastian, but Sebastian has no idea who the hell this lady is, or maybe does, but certainly does not wave back. Here is Green Hoodie lady. She goes and uses the ladies' bathroom. We'll get to about what was exchanged here in just a minute, but I just want to point this out. It's something I haven't pointed out since we first looked at this. But it's about after Green Hoodie. So here's Green Hoodie leaving, right? So now she cuts to the right, and here's what it looks like. Just a second. I think I show it. And just a moment later, we see Green Hoodie going to be walking right to left. And I know a lot of this has been pointed out before, but there's just one thing that I want to kind of emphasize here. So it appears she goes, she kind of goes through the bushes, and there's this secondary parking lot, which is kind of like the back parking lot to this area here. So Texas Roadhouse would be to our right, but it's not there because this is a photo before Texas Roadhouse was built. But she is literally coming through between here. For some reason walks this way first, but then walks towards us for some reason. So originally comes through, walks that way, and then we see her cutting back towards us. And again, the whole point of her going to Texas Roadhouse was to use a restroom. Well, she literally came from this area. There's all these stores that she could have used the bathroom. Of course, this has all been touched on before. But then we see her walk back to the right. She goes back to the right, and then we see something shortly after that may or may not be connected. I think Green Hoodie for sure, and that's this vehicle right here. You see this SUV. I've done a little bit of research on it. It looks like it could be like a Honda CRV. I think a Santa Fe. I forget. There's a couple lists. I don't think it's the Mama Sucks SUV. But you never know. It's early days. Maybe others have already identified it. It wouldn't surprise me. But the reason I bring this up is to kind of emphasize. So here it is one more time. And again, this is right after she walks to the right. Sorry, I think I have it slowed down right here. Yeah. So it's a good possibility she could have gotten this vehicle. We don't know because it's literally off camera, but right after she walks to the right, just off camera, a few seconds later, which would give enough time for a person to get in a vehicle, we see that. And that's this interesting SUV. Main thing to point out is it's a dark SUV. Now, it could be connected, it could not be. There's sign still. Yes, I know what you're saying. Yeah, it does. I know exactly what you're saying, hindsight. But the main thing I really just want to point out, and why I'm bringing this up, is the whole scenario is, did he actually even make it back to the home, right? I know we've kind of entertained that. And something to add a little more weight to that would be this little tip that came in about a vehicle matching Katie Proudfoot's car's description observed at BP gas station located at 593 New Shackle Road. While there, another vehicle believed to be a dark-colored mid-size SUV. Well, just interesting enough, that was a mid-size SUV, dark, that just drove past. Now, it could be just a coincidence and unrelated as far as that vehicle we showed, but it is interesting. It was parked beside her. The occupants of the two vehicles were seen communicating. And then it says a white male exited that they believed to be Sebastian, and there was some kind of exchange. And that happened at this BP. Right here. So Texas Roadhouse is right here. There's a nice little drive up Drake's Creek. And then stop 30. You take a left. And we have our BP where allegedly this vehicle was seen. And it's certainly plausible. And then the other thing is to back up, and thanks to hindsight, because I missed this the first time. And, oops, let's see, do I do it after? Okay. Yep, right here. So I've mentioned this before. Something I noticed a couple months ago is that she puts in an earpiece. I thought it was just one, but after hindsight, doing extensive research, told me that she actually puts right and left in. And here I've got a new enhanced, I wouldn't say super enhanced, but here is where you can see her putting the right and then the left in. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because what was the whole point of Green Hoodie? Well, I think there was clearly an exchange, likely a burner phone, and maybe had, earbuds attached to it. Sorry, and I'll read chat here in a minute. I'm just trying to, because we've gone on for quite a bit. But here I enhance it a little bit. So here is a more zoomed in portion. They're both perfectly timed at the same time. This is a little bit, so because sometimes you can see stuff better when it's a little bit zoomed out, whereas when you're super zoomed in, it starts to get a little more pixelated. But you're going to notice she's going to do the right ear turn, and then you're going to notice she does this. She goes boom, and then boom. I think so. I think, headphones and probably a burner phone. But here we go. She reaches down. She's bent over. She's reaching down. Has something in her hand. And now with her right hand, there's one. Now the left hand, here comes the left hand. So, and look, you can see her nose right there. Her nose right there. Her nose right there. I know we pointed this out, but again, I didn't notice the left earbud. So, thanks to hindsight. But here comes the left hand. So turn, and then you're going to see her do this. And here comes her left hand. Boom. It goes quick. And notice she's almost kind of got her hand out like that. So it's boom, boom. And I'll play that one more time, just without pausing or stopping it. But notice she reaches, once she puts her seatbelt on, notice, I think she reaches in her hoodie. Remember, her phone is supposed to be in her pants pocket. Gets the seatbelt on. Watch how the seatbelt's going to bend as if she's reaching into her hoodie. See, bends. I think this is where Green Hoodie gave her something. So that seatbelt's bending tells me that she's causing her hoodie here to like fold up almost, as she's reaching into her, in my opinion, hoodie pocket. Then she has it in her hand. We can see her right hand here. Right hand here. She reaches down for something. And then right ear. And then I'll just play it without right ear. And then that left hand comes right following up. Boom. And then drives. Yeah, Sebastian's kind of like, yeah, like, whoa, what's going on? Yeah. So again, we have the two scenarios. Did she exchange him, somewhere around BP? Which I definitely could see. And then if not, then he was moved at 3 a.m. But then still, 3 a.m. either way, I think happened, and yeah, and that's coming together as a team, right? You just kind of, it's teamwork, you're kind of assisting each other by pointing things out, and then somebody else, looks into that, and then, again, that's a great thing. And I can tell you, a lot of people are on, as far as what actually happened, a lot of people are in different boats. But again, the common thing is that we're here for Sebastian, and whether whose theory is right, don't matter as long as we get to Sebastian and we poke the bear, right? That's the main thing. There was a little bit more I wanted to go over, but I just did not realize. I mean, I knew it was going to take some time, but again, I'm trying to show transparency with this footage, and hopefully, I'm sure hopefully you guys will go back and look at it, and you can see. I just want to say to people, be very careful about saying, "Oh, I can hear voices and stuff." Remember, when you have distortion and you start listening to it, it's like white noise, with the paranormal, and you start picking up, all this kind of, they feel like they're picking up voices, and I think your mind kind of plays tricks, because when you start listening to that white noise distortion, you'll start to hear voices, right? I don't know if that's just kind of psychological, so be very careful about, saying, "Oh, we hear voices," right? I just want to be very careful with that. But we will try to do more audio enhancement, right? And many other things. But yeah, maybe we can have Chris McDonald on. He'd be a lot of fun to have on. Oh, one last thing before you go. This is very interesting. So I've been fixing this. This is really cool before we finish. And then I've got the pet outro, so please don't go anywhere. Here's what's really cool about this thing. As most of you guys know, I got a better photo, probably the best photo I can get from just about the right angle. It's still not the perfect angle, but it's about the best I'm going to get unless I actually get the actual footage. But here's one thing that came to me today about what's really cool about, even though this still isn't 100% lined up, this gazebo is huge, and I'll explain why. So I got another new overlay for you guys. Really, it's the same thing. I know you've seen this a million times, but it's really cool to see it actually while in this form. But I wanted to point one thing out to you guys that makes this really interesting. Food for thought. So, and I'll have some data maybe by Monday with ChatGPT about this. So we see subject 2 come in, and we've talked about this, how, I mean, just look how perfect it disappears where the gazebo would be at, right? And then when it appears, it's going to be right after the gazebo. Now, what's so cool about this is because the gazebo itself is round, right? It's circular. It doesn't matter really, in theory, unless my math is wrong, correct me in chat, but in theory, because it's round, right? It doesn't matter if I move to the left or to the right of it and I overlay this same thing, the gap between subject to starting point and when it disappears to when it appears, that should just, as long as I'm not moving forward or backwards where it's going to start to become wider. But if I am literally just moving my perspective from the same distance, but I'm almost doing a 360, moving around, that really, this whole gap between the subject to disappearing and appearing should always stay the same, because the object itself is circular. It's round, right? So if the object was like a square rectangular building, right? If I started to change my perspective, moving left to right, that's going to start to change the dimensions of that object. And if I go to overlay subject to where it appears and disappears and appears, it's going to start to be off with the object that I'm, allegedly is blocking it. Does that make sense to you guys? It's something that just hit me, but I'm like, as long as I am shifting with something that is circular, it doesn't matter my perspective, because that thing's always going to be the same size because it's a circle, the dimension of it, in theory, versus something that's like a rectangle shape or something, because as I shift my view, that rectangle, depending on, might start to turn to a box. The dimensions might become different. But yeah, does that make sense, guys? Again, this is where it gets exciting, because this adds even just that much more weight to, if I have a different perspective, that's more left or more right, that gap between it's coming, it disappearing and reappearing should technically, in theory, be the same. So anyway, that is something that I am going to run with ChatGPT, and I have to get the dimensions of this gazebo. It'll be like groundbreaking, in my opinion. And so last thing before we finish, I told you guys I've got reports after reports that I want to do for a Twitter thread, and yeah, it's going to be, I don't want to say massive, but it's going to have all the major points, the glue with evidence that we can put to them. Yeah, again, math is like the one thing that I'm like paid attention in school in, right? So, and geometry and stuff like that. So I love that stuff. But I just kind of thought it was weird. Like every time I line this thing up, it always, the subject to always reappears and disappears perfectly with this gazebo. And and then that's when it kind of hit me. I'm like, because I've done it with different perspectives, and then I'm kind of thinking, well, if I'm working with an object that is circular, no matter what, if I'm walking around it, that dimension's gonna stay the same. So again, it's really important. Yeah. Anyway, mods, thank you guys so much for sticking out for such a long show. There you go, hindsight. No iron team. Oh, thank you, Kay. I really appreciate that. So yeah, we're gonna do a pet outro. And we'll hopefully be back on maybe tomorrow. We'll have to see. But again, a huge shout out to my mods, members, patrons. Okay, Janet. Yeah, I mean, keep in mind, I'm getting a lot of stuff right now because I just had to get all the pets situated. So just be patient with me. And please, if you can, if it's emails, please just try to keep it, to like really important stuff or tips right now because I've just got a lot going on. Yeah, Deborah, right. Yeah, between the SUVs. Yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed their surveillance. Again, you can kind of go back and look at that. And then maybe we'll have some way for you guys to just go and look at it again, unadulterated. And again, these are the hours that he allegedly went wandering off, but we know that was likely not true. But we're going to put the pressure on him, right? And maybe we'll have Chris McDonald on sometime in the near future. That'd be really cool. Oh, thank you, Scummy Bear. Yeah. I would say geometry, and then once we got into like trig and advanced calculus, I was like, oh, yeah, I'll stick with pre-cal, and even that was, pretty tough. All right, guys, new pet outro. I want to play that. Keep in mind, I know a lot of people send a lot of pet pictures. If you sent like more than 2 pets, I usually just try to pick like 2 pets. That way it's fair for everybody else because, I start getting a bunch in and, I know a lot of people have a lot of babies and want to show them off, and I understand it. But, I can't have it like a 3-hour, not 3-hour, but I just try to keep it pretty short. So, all right, here's the pet outro, guys. Much love. We will see you guys hopefully tomorrow, if not Sunday. So God bless. Have a wonderful weekend. I think we're supposed to get snow tonight. I don't know. We'll have to see. But yeah, keep putting that pressure on. Oh, and go check out Josh Lab's video if you haven't. I'll put his link in there in the description. So, all right, here's the pet outro, guys. And we will see you guys by Sunday.